Norma and her sons Martin and Cameron are leaving Glasgow to fly to Barra, an island in the Outer Hebrides of Scotland, where Cameron believes that he lived in a previous life. They are being accompanied by psychiatrist Dr. Jim Tucker, an expert in children's past life memories. Cameron believes that his family name was Robertson and that he lived in a big white house, a house full of children. He says he had a black and white dog. There was a view from the house to the sea, and that they could see planes land, not on a runway, but on the beach. Could any of these apparent memories correspond to reality?
You know, there's a concern that if he really is having memories of a previous life, that taking him back to that place might be traumatic. But what usually is the case is actually the reverse, that seeing the old place kind of puts the memories in perspective so that the child is then able to let go of them more.
The planes must have landed on the beach.
Yeah, good boy. It's just after saying I told you it was all true. Feel happy to be here?
Yeah. It looks nice here. Looks nice here.
They go into the airport to collect their bags.
He was saying he used to go over that bit over there, and when they used to see the rainbows, they used to try and jump up and get them. They're too high, aren't they?
Well, we're certainly off to a good start. I mean, he feels that he recognizes the place. He said to his brother, I told you it was true, and he's very excited about being here.
Mummy, I must have always come down to this bit and I must have up to the beach.
Did you? You'll be able to show me, won't you?
Very exciting. If we can verify his statements, it'll be a great case. Looks like a place that doesn't change too rapidly, so hopefully he'll be able to recognize some things.
Feel happy to be back.
Feel happy to be back, do you? You look happy to be back.
Leaving the airport, they board the bus to drive to the hotel, and they get their first look at the island.
Mummy, well, you might see my house on the way.
I know, we're trying to see if we can see it.
You know what? I know the person who's upstairs, but...
You know the person that lived there?
But I can't remember. Oh, no. Oh, dear. Mummy, it's hard to get to that bit.
Does it have to get out there?
Because then you'd have to try and swim back. Mummy, I recognize every single bit.
Next morning, the investigation begins in earnest. Norma and Jim set off to visit the local heritage centre to look for any record of the Robertson family and the man that Cameron calls his Barra dad.
My Barra dad was called Shane Robertson and he got knocked down.
Hello.
Hi, I'm Norma, pleased to meet you.
Callum McNeil is the island's local historian.
Tucker.
Callum McNeil.
Nice to meet you.
Certainly the names don't immediately come to my mind. Certainly the name Robertson does feature, but certainly not the name Shane. And the name Robertson itself only features occasionally in the history of the islands.
There doesn't seem to be any evidence that a family called Robertson lived in a house by the shore. Could Cameron be wrong about the name, but right about the house?
I could see the beach when I look out the window, and sometimes my brothers and sisters could go by themselves, and I looked out my window, see the planes land on the beach. And my brother said the black phone and how you die is you just go like that.
He has provided some clues about the location and the period in which he says he lived on the island.
Since he's talked about the planes landing and talked about phones, what sort of era would that put him in?
More than likely after the war.
After the
More than likely after the war.
And since he's talked about the plane landing and seeing that, we're probably thinking of a family toward the north end.
Oh, yes, I would say so. If the to and froing of aircraft from the beaches featuring highly, that would indicate the north end of the island.
It's not much to go on, but they set out on a trail back to the north end of the island.
I thought he was fine, but I don't know about him. I was starting to feel anxious and saying, well, I hope he does recognise something for his sake and probably for my own, because I'm desperately looking for answers as well.
Well, I think it's disappointing if a child goes to a place and doesn't recognize things. Often what happens is that by the time the child gets taken to the previous place, they're beginning to lose the memories anyway. Children seem to lose these memories by the age of 6 or 7. And this is the age where children are starting school and getting more fully wrapped up in this life.
They have driven past many of the houses on the island, most of them white, some near the sea. But Cameron recognizes none of them.
Sometimes I say I wish I could get in his head just for 5 minutes to see what it feels like to him, because obviously to him it's real.
My dad and mum had long hair and she got cut short.
Later that day, they go for a walk on the beach. The adults may be disappointed, but Cameron is happy just being on the island. But next morning, they receive a phone call from Callum McNeil at the Heritage Centre. He wants to speak to them urgently. He has some new information.
Phone call today informed me that there were people living with the name Robertson on the north end of the island, in a house by the shore. It's a white house by the shore. Couldn't get much closer to the shore.
Callum's records were only for properties owned by islanders, but the Robertsons were from the mainland.
And when were they there?
60s, 70s, I believe.
Yeah. So we know exactly which house it was. We'd be able to go see it.
Sunderland.
Directions to the house take them down a different road to the ones they had been searching before. Jim and Norma don't tell Cameron where they're going. They don't want to influence his reaction or disappoint him. They follow a small coastal track. The house comes into view as they turn the final corner.